Rockalina, the eastern box turtle, has been outside in her brand new enclosure for 30 days now. She is a box turtle. For almost 50 years, she hasn't gotten to be that. Remember, Rockalina lived on somebody's kitchen floor after being caught in 1977 in the wild. That's pretty much what Rockalina would look like had she had been left alone or raised the proper way. We got an awesome update for you guys today on Rockalina, but before we do that, it is the end of Diamondback terrapin nesting season, so Casey and I are out here right now to take advantage of these last few days that the females will be coming up to lay their eggs. And I was just about to get to one right here that was trying to nest in an asphalt pile, and unfortunately she went right into poison ivy. So the marsh is right there, she's safe. Would have been nice to process her, but we have plenty more to do. Technically what we're doing is feeding the flies. The greenhead flies, which love salt marshes, are absolutely horrible this time of year. We're gonna try to work fast, not just for the turtle's sake, because of course they want to get back to the water, but so that we don't lose too much blood out here. All right, this is a repeat female, which means we have had her in previous seasons. We have fitted her with a pit tag. We're basically monitoring this population. And by doing that, we're able to know the status of them to an extent, how they are doing, and we intervene in a safe way by fitting these animals with an internal microchip so that they always have an identification number. And we've actually aided in helping to stop illegal poaching of this species. And that's because if these animals are found somewhere that they don't belong, with someone that they don't belong with, they can read them, find out that they are in fact part of our project, and get them back to the wild. That has happened before. So this girl, really awesome to see her again. She also laid 9 eggs, and we're gonna take that nest and move it up to our egg box, which is about 20 minutes north of here, in cooperation with the Conserved Wildlife Foundation of New Jersey, where the eggs will actually get to incubate naturally in the ground. And then we can release those babies late summer, early fall. So collect a little bit of data on her, but she is done. And you know what's interesting is because this is now July, it's possible that this is this female's 2nd or even 3rd clutch of the season, because the northern Diamondback terrapin will lay up to 3 clutches of eggs in a single spring summer season, and they can lay up to 16 eggs in a single clutch. So they are a hard working turtle, but she may very well be done with her treacherous journey for the year, and we can get her back to the water. Another repeat. I recognized her because of the damage to the back of her shell here. Oh man, that one got me good. Right in the temple. She is still gravid. Gravid means she is still carrying eggs. You can feel them right back here. Got another one. This one did nest. She laid 8 eggs. Do we know who you are? Brand new female. Nice to meet you. Oh my God.
Ow.
You okay?
Yeah.
Jeez. People are probably watching this like, why don't they have bug spray on? We're covered in it and they're still getting us. God, wow. How much blood do you think you lost so far?
I think a fly went up my nose.
Okay, so the 2 empty females that successfully nested will go straight to the water so they don't have to deal with a road again at all. And the female that still needs to lay, we will take her to a safer spot right here in the immediate area where she can safely do it if she chooses to, and not come in contact with a car. Be free. What's really cool right here is you guys can actually see some of the natural food sources that the Diamondback terrapins will eat. They have those huge megacephalic heads with those powerful jaws because they use them to crack things open, like small clams, mussels, oysters. There's also fiddler crabs running around here, and the terrapins will not hesitate to come up onto the muddy banks and grab those crabs and pull them right into the water. Beautiful, classic looking female. Another new girl. Oh my God. I think I just got bit 3 times in the face. Oh man, and no, I'm not wearing the bug net that's right here. So shame on me.
I didn't know we had that.
Okay. So I'm sure we still got some terrapin work to do. We also have to get the eggs up to our egg box. But let's head back to Rockalina because at least she won't bite me like these flies are. Rockalina, the eastern box turtle, has been outside in her brand new enclosure for 30 days now. And I'm excited to show you guys how she's been doing. Here she is. Good morning, lady. Ready for some breakfast? I just picked her a strawberry from the strawberry plant that she absolutely loves. And let me tell you, this turtle is not only doing so well, she is actually transforming. Her beak looks completely different, and she's been doing that on her own, guys. Why? Because she's utilizing her enclosure the way we wanted her to. She is a box turtle, which means box turtles spend much of their day when they are active pushing through leaf and pine litter and going underneath logs and things and underneath moss to look for invertebrates. So Rockalina is starting to reshape her beak by eating things like snails. She's also eating slugs, earthworms, little roaches, anything she can get her beautiful little beak on, she is taking it down. Not to mention, she has to work for those strawberries that she pulls from the plants. So this is really such an improvement for her that she is, like I said, kind of doing on her own. And that's what we wanted to see. We wanted to put her out in an enclosure like this so she could be as much of a box turtle as possible, because for almost 50 years, she hasn't gotten to be that. Remember, Rockalina lived on somebody's kitchen floor after being caught in 1977 in the wild. We have an entire playlist that shows from day one all the way up until now this amazing turtle's journey and recovery that you can watch. And that link for the playlist will be in the description of this video. So if you don't know who she is, you've got plenty of time to get caught up on her and a lot of videos to enjoy. Let's take a closer look at her here. One of the things that some of you guys have been noticing is her color. That's because that's also starting to come back. She's no longer that completely like white washout color. She's actually getting some browns and more grays on her, which who knows, maybe they will eventually start to turn more of a yellow, which would be more the more typical coloration for her species. And you can actually see on the scales on her legs, they're starting to turn yellowish. And in fact, let me show you something real quick. Okay, so here is a female eastern box turtle of ours that lives in the group up front of the property. And you can see just how different her coloration is when we compare her to Rockalina. She's got some beautiful yellow-orange spots on the face. She's got yellow on her beak. And you can see that although it's a paler yellow, the scales on her front legs are in fact yellow, even a bit of an orange tinge. And Rockalina has unfortunately lost that because when these turtles are captured from the wild like that and then kept indoors completely artificially in a very suboptimal situation, they do lose their coloration. Look at how well formed the beak is on this female eastern box turtle, and you can see Rockalina's is starting to kind of show that a little bit. She's getting a nice point at the end of her beak, which we will probably still have to tame back a little bit. But again, we don't want to do anything over the top with her or be in too much of a rush, because clearly the way we've done things all along here by taking baby steps is one of the reasons why she's become so strong and she's still sticking around here, just really improving every single day of her life. So there you go. There's a nice way to see them both, comparing the coloration. Now, as far as the shell goes, Rockalina does have a pretty natural formed shell. As I said in earlier videos, that's because she was captured as an adult already. So there was really no manipulation that could happen to the shell because it had completely hardened to bone, and she had developed all the markings that she would throughout life. So it's not like she's gonna get more markings on her shell, but I do think we're gonna keep seeing improvements on her face, neck, and legs. And lastly, if you look at the back feet, well, need I say more? Look at the difference there between this eastern box turtle and Rockalina's feet. And that's because Rockalina's rear legs were completely tangled in cat hair and skin that was sloughing off. She still has a lot of that really pale white coloration on her back end, but what's nice is it's completely healed up, because at one point they were cracked open sores that were actually bleeding. She is just as strong as this animal, has a very similar weight, even though she's slightly smaller, which brings up another really interesting point. A lot of you, I guess maybe if you weren't aren't familiar with the species were saying things like, oh my gosh, she's so small for her age. That's actually not true. Eastern box turtles are not a large species, and in fact, when they are a little bit on the bigger side, it's usually the males. Otis, he's a good 7-inch turtle, but these two are about 5.5 inches, and that's a typical size for a female eastern box turtle. It varies throughout their natural range, not unlike a lot of other species. Eye color, pretty much on point. There was nothing that could be manipulated there with Rockalina, so she has kept those beautiful reddish brown eyes that are associated with females. So I think we could put these two down, but really awesome. She's looking great. I love watching her hunt. She explores every little aspect of this enclosure. She soaks in her water dish, and she loves the rains that come. I still bring her and Otis in at night. I just like to be extra safe with them. But if you notice, I did go ahead and install an electric fence around them for added security. I want the plants to go wild here. I don't want to have to crush them with lids. Still might do lids, but with the electric fence and bringing them in at night and having cameras on them 24/7, these turtles are definitely in good hands and definitely safe. Ready to go back in and explore some more? She's really enjoying her strawberries. There you go. That's pretty much what Rockalina would look like had she had been left alone or raised the proper way. So in the last couple of days, we have gotten a few clutches of Diamondback terrapin eggs. And as I said earlier, we work in cooperation with the Conserve Wildlife Foundation of New Jersey. And we are at their artificial nesting area or nesting beach for the species, where they had us build our own egg box and is under 24-hour surveillance. So we can put the eggs in here and let them incubate naturally. And then when the babies hatch, we remove them and let them go. And what this does is it not only protects them from predators, but it keeps our babies separate from the actual animals that are native to this particular site, because you don't want to do that. These animals belong at our study sites, and the terrapins that come up here to naturally nest on the artificial beach belong here. So all we do with this is we mimic the flask-shaped nest that the female would dig, which is basically about 4 or 5 inches deep, and we bury the eggs in here. And year after year, it has proven to be successful for the babies. Now check this out. See that little white spot? That means these eggs have started developing and they are in fact fertile. So we don't want to turn them, because unlike a bird egg, once a turtle or tortoise egg starts developing, you don't want to turn it. When they're first laid before any development starts, it is okay to do so, contrary to popular belief, but now is the time when you want to do your best to not turn them. And interestingly, the temperature the egg is incubated at will determine whether it's male or female. That doesn't go for every single species, but for Diamondback terrapins it does. So the ones on top will most likely produce female, because females are produced at warmer temperatures, and the ones on the bottom, being a little bit cooler, may result in males. Speaking of hatchling, it's the beginning of hatching season for our own personal animals, particularly the tortoises, so let's head back to GST and see if there's anything going on. Okay, check it out. We've got some fun and adorable animals to show you, because it is the beginning of the hatching season here at Garden State Tortoise for the animals that we reproduce. And we happen to have some beautiful little marginated tortoises, Testudo marginata, that are hatching. These 3 that I'm pulling out right now are ready to come out of the incubator because they are fully emerged from their eggs. Tortoises are actually folded in half inside the egg. That's how they fit. And if you look at this little marginated tortoise, you'll see the crease right there where the animal was in fact folded. But as soon as they get out of the egg, they start to completely straighten out. Again, they use that egg tooth, the little caruncle on the end of the snout, to break through the egg. And in their case, it's a hard-shelled egg, brittle, like a chicken egg. And then that falls off, the animal straightens out, and the yolk sac, or the umbilical area there, is absorbed, and that feeds the animal for the first week or more of its life. So these animals do not need to eat right away. We like to give them a quick bath, a soak, because it can be dehydrating and taxing on them to hatch. But once that's done, they can go into their rearing units and just start going about life. And when they're ready to start eating, they'll do so. Some of them start eating right away. Others, you don't see them eat for sometimes 10 days or more. And that is completely normal. The marginated tortoise is typically the largest of the European or Mediterranean tortoise species, growing to be upwards of 14 inches, at least for the males. And they develop this beautiful bell-shaped skirt at the back. They are well represented in captivity, but this is a species that you typically do not see in rescue situations. And that's because they're very hardy, very robust, and they're suitable for areas like the Mid-Atlantic region, the Northeast, and even the Pacific Northwest if you can modify the outdoor enclosure. And once you do that, they can actually spend their entire lives outdoors. That's what makes them a much more suitable pet tortoise than something like a sulcata, because sulcatas in most areas, they got to at least come in for the winter, and we all know just how huge they get. There's actually one more here that is pipping. Actually, it's a little more than pipping right now. So I'm going to put these guys down, and then we'll take a look at that one, because we want to pull them as quickly as we can so they don't start rolling over the other eggs that aren't ready to hatch yet. Okay, here's a little treat. We've got several tortoises fully out that I've been pulling over the last couple of days, and that's where these three little marginateds are going to go into. And this is what I do. Very simple. Moist paper towel still in the incubator to let the animals completely straighten out and be ready. And it just gives them a little bit of extra time, some conditioning, so that they can really be fully ready to go out there, because I like to put these tortoises outside immediately. Again, these are animals that are suitable for our area. And to be honest with you guys, summer in New Jersey, you could pretty much put any species outside immediately. They really can handle it if you set up the enclosures right from the get-go. And that's what's really exciting about these Mediterranean species, is they are just so hardy. All right, this little marginated right here, it is definitely about ready. Look at it trying to come out right in my hand. This never gets old. Beautiful bright-eyed baby, and I can see down there, it looks like the yolk sac is, I'd say, like 95% absorbed. It's not as straightened out as its siblings are, but it is ready to come out of this egg. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it right back in the incubator for now, in this container with the eggs, and let it finish, and I'll check on it in a couple hours, and at that point it'll probably be ready to join the other ones in here. But these guys are definitely about ready to go into their rearing units. So there we go. Okay, we also have some more special animals that have just hatched. These are the Western Hermans tortoise. Two different localities that are breaking out of their eggs. Starting with right here, animals from the south of France. That is the lineage that these little babies are tied to. The southern French Western Hermans tortoises are one of the two most endangered populations of Western Hermans tortoise in the world. And in fact, in the United States, the southern French ones are not well represented whatsoever. So it is so crucial that these animals continue to breed. I'm always thrilled to see them every year. They're little mini versions of the adults, but of course, their coloration will intensify to that gorgeous black and yellow as they grow. You can see they already have their little cheek spots. This one's fully out of the egg. This one is still hatching. Not completely straightened out yet, so I'm not going to spend much time on them. And then we could show you one from another locality that's hatching right here. This little beauty is from Tuscany, Italy. It's a very dark baby, but just like the French ones, the colors will intensify with age. This one's really ready to be moved into a rearing unit. It is completely out. It is straightened out. It has absorbed its yolk sac, and it really looks awesome. But just look at how tiny they are. This species, despite its rarity, is what I ultimately consider to be the best pet tortoise, because they have size, they have hardiness, coloration, and their adaptability to an environment that experiences a winter. All those things just really kind of set it apart from a lot of other species. They are one of the Mediterranean tortoises, a very iconic animal, and it's just so crucial that more of these are reproduced and that they stay pure, not only to their subspecies, but of course to their localities in nature. All right, let me get these guys back in. They can stay in a nice humid environment and finish hatching. You didn't think I was done, did you? Got something else to show you guys. Little, beautiful baby, just hatched Western painted turtles. I absolutely love this species. This is the largest of the 4 painted turtles that are found in the United States, and in my opinion, they are the most beautiful. They have gorgeous lime green shells as adults. Some of them are a darker green, even sometimes a bluish green. But what's awesome is the plastron on this species, or subspecies of painted turtle. And look at this. You would think that they would be called a red belly turtle because they look very similar to a red belly, but they are not. They are a painted turtle, and it's no surprise because it looks like Mother Nature took a little paintbrush and carefully made all those intricate, beautiful designs and markings, and these guys and girls are just looking perfect. Every single baby has come out perfect. They're swimming around. They're ready to take their first meals. They still have their caruncles on the end of their snouts, but I do believe they're starting to get hungry. So it's time to move them out of this little post-hatching unit and start getting them set up into a more semi-permanent aquatic environment where they could start growing up in. Now, this species will get up to 8 inches for the females, smaller for the males. And, there's some variation with size, but they are considerably larger than the other painted turtles. Definitely bigger than the southern painted, and definitely bigger than the native eastern painteds that we have over here. But they're just so perfect. And they're so comical and fun to watch. Little baby aquatic turtles are just so much fun. At this size, they are very easily predated by a wide number of predators, birds included. So they're going to have to go in something that is closed with a lid on it, is what I'm saying, so that nothing can get to them, because I would like to see them outside immediately. The sunlight helps them really develop that coloration. It gives them all the UVB they need, and they can start behaving like beautiful little basking turtles that they are. And what better way to do that than to give them the natural sunlight? We'll give them some real aquatic vegetation too, which these turtles love to hide in, because they know that they're tiny. They know that they have to get out of that vulnerable stage. What a treat. Love to be able to show you guys these turtles. And fun fact, this is the first time that Casey and I have ever hatched this subspecies of painted turtle. So high five to us for that. We have got updates coming for you guys, so stay tuned. We got an update on Biggins, the sick radiated tortoise, and the iconic Chief Brody, our huge alligator snapping turtle who has been presenting some challenges lately.